Welcome from the 18th International Chopin Piano Competition here in Warsaw, Poland. We are here at day 3 of the first round, and we have 6 wonderful pianists with us who've played in the first 2 days. My name is Rachel Naomi Kudo.
And I'm Alessandro Tommasi. And I would like to address the first routine question we do every time, which is starting with Hayato to introduce you, say your name, where are you from, and where are you studying?
Okay, I'm Hayato SUMINO. I came from Japan, Tokyo. I was studying at Tokyo University. And anything else? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your favorite food?
Favorite food? Japanese food? What is? Yeah, everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is YUTONG. I come from China, and currently I'm studying in Boston in New England Conservatory in the United States.
So my name is MIYU SHINDO. I'm 19 years old, and I'm from Japan. And I was studying at Central Music School under the Moscow Conservatory.
My name is ZUZANNA. I'm from Poland, but I'm studying in Germany, in Hamburg, in Hochschule für Musik und Theater with Professor Hubert Rutkowski.
Hi, my name is KYOHEI, and I studied in Moscow Conservatory, and now I'm studying in Warsaw, Chopin University. Yeah.
My name is Talon Smith. I'm from the United States, and I am currently mentored privately by Garrick Olson.
Garrick Olson, who is, of course, one of the wonderful winners of the Chopin competition and a wonderful, wonderful pianist. Talon, maybe we can start with you. Do you remember your first association with Chopin, his music, or do you have any memory of his impressions?
I would say so. When I was very young, my parents often would play classical music tapes, recordings on the TV. And so I grew up listening to this sort of thing a lot. I think the first piece by Chopin that I remember hearing specifically was the waltz in E-flat major, the Opus 18 waltz. I remember it was a very striking, rhythmic, upbeat sort of mood that this piece conveyed. And I remember noting it was written by Fryderyk Chopin, and I thought that was very interesting.
It's such a elegant, brilliant piece. There's nothing like that opening. It's like a fanfare. It's very inviting. I can see why that's very memorable. Yeah.
Me? Yes. Maybe when I was 9 years old, I played the mazurka. Yeah, in F major. Yeah, and when I playing and when I started playing this piece, so just impressed with my heart, and it's good memory. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're Polish, you are kind of you are already born with Chopin in your veins, I would say. Of course, I was introduced to Chopin's music by my piano teacher at school when I was maybe 8 or 9. But my parents are also musicians. That's why I was always surrounded by Chopin's music.
So for me, I think I don't remember which piece I played for the first time in my life, but I remember that first I thought that Chopin is a wonderful composer who wrote wonderful dance music, for example, Polonaise and mazurkas. And in Japan, of course, I started to play the piano in Japan, so I remember that I really enjoyed to learn some really easy mazurkas with my teacher in Japan. Yeah.
Do you like dancing?
Well,
or more playing music?
Yeah, of course, dancing music I like.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I actually don't really remember when the first time I listened to Chopin music. It's probably before 3 years old. But I mean, human beings don't really have any memory before 3 years old. So, but I remember the first piece I play on stage is Chopin's waltz in A-flat major. So it's really a memorable experience for me. Yeah.
I also don't remember exactly, but my first piece, or my first Chopin piece was, I remember Polonaise number 13, when I was 5 or 6 years old. And then after I played Waltz E minor, which was very, very beautiful.
Yes.
And yeah, I really like it. And yeah,
When did you start playing Hayato?
piano.
Piano, yes.
Um,
Do you also play other
I don't
instruments?
remember.
Do you also play other instruments?
A little bit guitar,
Okay.
drum, I don't know, but yeah, mostly on piano.
Okay.
I started when I was 2 or 3. Yeah, because my mother was piano teacher, and there was a piano in my house, so I naturally touched.
Yes.
Started to touch, and yeah.
Was it also through, so if your mother was a piano teacher,
Yeah.
was it also through her maybe loving the piano that you heard about the Chopin competition? Or do you remember hearing first time about the competition?
I don't remember, but maybe in 2005, two people from Japan had got fourth prize.
Yes, they
So,
were prize winners, yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So maybe that's the first time for me to get to know about the Chopin competition.
I'm curious if any of you have recollections of the first time you heard about the competition, or if you were, especially since you're Polish, I know it's, I don't know if it's considered almost like a rite of passage for Polish pianists, you know. Do you want to go through this or not? I mean, how does it feel for you, and how is it regarded here?
To be here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so so Chopin competition was always there for me. I remember it since I was maybe 3, because I remember the edition 2000 somehow when I was 3 years old, and actually every edition after, I can really remember very well, because it was always live streamed on the television, and it was always there. And I think that my piano teacher at school made me to participate, because I was already participating 6 years ago as a 18-year-old girl, and she made me to participate, as well as my parents, because it's very important to our Polish culture, and also for the future. Chopin competition is just a huge thing. That's why I think everyone in Poland thinks at least a little bit about participating in the Chopin competition,
I
if
should
it's
be
possible.
there once, yes.
I mean,
play in the
it
stage,
shouldn't
yes.
be. I don't mean it's obligatory, but it's a wonderful possibility.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course, of course. And I'm impressed because a lot of times when we ask about this first Chopin competition impressions, a lot of people speak also about past winners, because of not only the first prize but also other prizes, because they have apparently really a huge role in promoting the competition. For example, we were speaking yesterday about Song Jin-cho in Korea, how much, of course, he did to spread the name of the competition also there. And I wanted to ask you, Talon, which is the role of Gary Coulson in you participating here, since you study with past winner of the competition?
Well, I would say if you're asking like the first time I heard, was it through Mr. Olson?
Yes, if it was, and
Not
if he
really.
convinced you taking part, or the opposite?
I actually didn't know of the Chopin competition until after the last edition.
Okay.
So maybe in 2016, I heard the name Song Jin-cho. I knew there was a Chopin competition. I was quite young, I thought, okay, well, that's a ways away. And then, a couple years ago, I decided, I'd like to try. I'd like to participate. And Mr. Olson, I met later on, and we've worked together. He's helped to prepare me, but I would say I was already thinking of the competition before then. Yes.
Of course.
KYOHEI, what about you?
What-
Your thoughts and feelings for Chopin, I know you play many other pieces. I mean, we all study Beethoven, Liszt, Prokofiev, other composers, but your reason to participate in the Chopin competition, you're also studying in Warsaw. For example, you know, like you mentioned the mazurka, that was your first piece. And for me, you know, the mazurka is such a, you know, it's such a subtle expression, you know, and rhythmically, and there's a lot of nuances that's, you know, still very mystical almost. Have you learned being here, studying here, something insightful in mazurkas, or I don't know how?
No, for me, actually, I didn't know. No, still now I maybe no, but I didn't know that. How should I need to play the Chopin? But actually, I really love Chopin. That's why I came to and I decided to study in Warsaw. And when I met first time with my professor, I asked him, so how should I need to play the Chopin? He answered me, just beautiful, please. And I didn't understand, but now a little bit understand. So mazurka also, polonaise also maybe, you know. And I decided to read his letter. It is so very important, and maybe probably I understand now maybe, and I decided to try to competition. No, if I will pass the third stage, I can play the mazurka. I can't wait.
Yeah.
I want to play just.
You're looking forward to it. That's great. We'd look forward to it too. Miyu, what about you? Do you remember the first time you heard about the Chopin competition, or something? Was it always a dream for you?
Actually, I don't remember very well the moment, but I can, of course, everyone know that in Japan, Chopin competition is the most popular and famous international music competition, because people who don't play the piano, they also heard about Chopin competition, also winners of the competition. And yeah, when I was little, you know, like participation in this competition, I couldn't imagine that I will someday participate in this big competition. But now I'm here in Warsaw in October, and for me it's like a dream, you know. I can't believe this wonderful.
happened.
Yes.
Do you have some time to see Warsaw? I know the
You mean sightseeing?
sightseeing a little bit. I know the daily schedule is really busy, but
Yeah, because I'm running, you know, from practice room to next practice room,
Yes, of
so
course.
that's why I can't. I couldn't go and I couldn't see. But in July. I've been to
the
Chopin Museum.
Yes.
And I saw the manuscript or some interesting Chopin's wallet, something, or diary, and it was so interesting for me. And I finally could feel that Chopin was really like a human. Chopin was also human, and yes, it was so great experience for me.
Yes.
And Yutong, what about you?
The first time I know some competition is 2000 years, because there was of course Yundili, a Chinese winner of the 2000 edition of the Chopin competition, and actually I didn't really have a thought that I would go to Chopin competition like learn piano, but because for me it's Chopin's composition is too. I mean, I really love to listen and to play it. Probably play for myself and play in a concert. But I think it's, if not in the Chopin competition, it's quite risky to play Chopin's music in other competitions, because everyone knows Chopin's music and every single piece of him. Yeah. So it's just. I mean, I just happen to know that, I mean, every 5 years Chopin competition is coming, so and I just applied for it. It's just.
What has been the most challenging thing? I mean, of course, Chopin competition, you know, it's a rite of passage. But has there been anything that you learned through preparing, you know, through this process? You've come so far. Anything, I don't know, that you
learned
already, like in preparing all this repertoire or
choosing the repertoire.
choosing
Yes.
yeah. Anybody?
Hayato.
For example, the pandemic. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, this had to be delayed a year. So I'm sure that was something quite unsettling for everybody. You're not sure when you're going to play. The schedule is still undecided. Did you find this time helpful, or was it, you know, maybe frustrating? You were ready to play actually, but you had to kind of stop
Postpone
your
it,
schedule.
yes.
So I would say that it was additional time to learn new repertoire, of course, and then have much more choice.
Yeah. Did you change your repertoire?
Yes, I did change my repertoire, and actually now it's more the construction of my repertoire is more how to say, it's better for me. Now I understand why and which why this piece after another, and I'm very happy with my choice. Yeah.
And Hayato, how, going on the repertoire topic, how did you choose your repertoire? What pieces to bring on the stage?
How? Just I've been playing, of course, everyone. I've been playing Chopin pieces since I was young. So at first I chose my long repertoire, and I also tried to pick, just what I want to play. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, you should be comfortable and also love what
Yes,
you
yes.
play. Absolutely, absolutely.
Of course.
Did anybody else make some repertoire changes?
No, maybe probably I choose on the third round. I decided to play the Largo.
I saw that. That's
Yeah.
unusual.
Yeah, maybe nobody played in the competition. Yeah, no, Largo has only 2 minutes, but for me, like a chorus, no, so musical for church. I don't know, but I really love it. Yeah, that's why I decided. And after Largo, maybe Polonaise. Yeah, so maybe it's interesting. And I'm actually I'm interested to conduct. And I want to be a conductor also.
Okay.
And I'm studying, and I have my own orchestra, and I played Chopin concerto as a solist, pianist, as a conductor
And
also.
also conducting, yes.
So, and why I played as a conductor, because I wanted to know how Chopin thinking about the orchestra instrument or part. So that's why I decided to conduct it. Yeah.
Were you inspired? I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Were
sorry.
you inspired by perhaps Christian Zimmerman? Because
Yeah,
of
yeah,
course
yeah,
he
yeah,
did
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
I love it,
recording. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Also, I love my favorite pianist, or maybe Mikhail Platonov
Platonov,
or Bernstein, Karajan also. They played Barenboim also. He's
Also conductors,
yeah,
yes.
conductor, pianist, and as a conductor, playing. So that's why. So I'm honored.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a bit particular because when you speak about a symphonic composer, you usually don't think about Chopin's music. You think more about Schumann's or Brahms' music, like more symphonic structure. Do you think, Talon, that there is some kind of orchestral shade in Chopin's music? Because usually we pianists are a bit jealous. We can know this is just piano repertoire, and that's it. No cello, no trumpets. Maybe a little bit of voice here for the singing, and that's it.
I think it really depends on each piece. I think you have the fantasy, very orchestral. That's a public declaration, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of orchestra there. And then you have the A major prelude. That's maybe more ensemble, maybe more solo. I think it really depends, but I think that it is important to make sure that you aren't just thinking that you're playing a piano, because it's better to think more of the voice, more of another instrument. This way you can create more variation in tone and color, and it's more interesting, and I think it's closer to the expression of the music as well.
Of course.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's why we were so thankful for Chopin, because he knew that the piano could be such a complete and
Instrument.
inspiring
Yes.
instrument. And of course, he was encouraged, when he was young, to write symphonies, to write operas, because people, his teachers
Yeah,
knew.
that was the career of a composer,
And
of
also,
course.
they knew that he was a genius, but he was the one who chose to commit himself to the piano. And we are so thankful for it, because
Oh, yes. We
he's
thank
given
you,
us
of
so
course.
much blessings. And actually, when I was a student, I know all my other instrumentalist friends, they were very jealous that Chopin didn't write for the violin or for the flute or for other...
Well, luckily he did something for
Oh,
the
of
cello.
course.
That's
For the
something
cello,
we
yeah.
can. Yeah, no, the variation for flute. They're not his masterpiece, we could say, but just a small piece. But yes, of course, the cello sonata.
Do you
is
have
fantastic.
any favorite pieces or a piece from his repertoire? Maybe one piece in the competition that, is just you can't wait to play, or you have played? Anyone?
Who wants to start? Mio.
Well, I don't know. I think all pianists need to say that, all pieces are favorite, But in my repertoire there is barcarolle, and also, I think especially barcarolle is one of the most beautiful piece in the world. And also, I don't play this piece, but I also like to listen to mazurkas. I don't know, which mazurka is my favorite, but I love all mazurkas, and also his voice. I mean, his songs, because there are a lot of interesting songs. He continues to compose songs from young age to until until his death, let's say. Yeah, so that's why I really like to listen to this kind of music. Yeah.
I can't wait to play mazurkas. In my repertoire there are 7 mazurkas actually, because I also added additional mazurkas in the second stage. So I have this. I would like to have this special pleasure to play them in both. Maybe next stages I would be very happy, because mazurkas are very special to me. So I can't wait.
Yutong, what about also the concertos? Because we have been speaking a bit about the solo repertoire, but did you have the chance already to play the Chopin piano concertos with an orchestra? Will it be the first time in the finals in case?
I did play the first movement of the first concerto when I was like 13 with the orchestra, but for this competition I'm not going to play the first concerto but the second. Yeah. I mean, I actually learned both concertos, but I just feel that I like the second more, so actually the second concerto. Yeah.
Of course.
Maybe I performed the Chopin concerto, first concerto with the orchestra around 20 times.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Also with Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra, the conductor Andrei Boreyko.
Okay.
With him also.
Had some experience there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was maybe but that's of course also difficult to play. Always. always. Yeah, especially coda, first movement.
But are they difficult to play because of technically difficulties? Of course, because there's very
technically also of
the
course
relation
also.
with the orchestra, because they're very tricky for orchestras. We know that orchestras usually don't like so much Chopin concertos because they find them a bit boring, because there's not so much. But actually, it's so difficult for them to follow all the rubato, all the cantabile. So do you think also that is something that needs to be worked on?
Yeah. So we must remember which part when they play his part, own part, and so that's why it's so maybe difficult to perform. But my favorite, the most favorite piece is Chopin concert. That's
Okay.
So
Both of
very
them?
beautiful. First.
Number
one.
one, I see.
Yeah.
What about you, Talon?
Favorite piece?
The piece, and what about the concertos? Did you have the chance to perform them also because the pandemic stopped so many live concerts? That has been a huge problem, because you plan also the opportunities to perform a lot of the repertoire before coming to Warsaw and play at the Chopin competition, and pandemic, and everything is cancelled for 2 years. So how did this pandemic affect your preparation for the competition? Did you have the chance to perform live your repertoire, to try out a bit the concertos?
Yes, I did. I had some chances to perform, just small home concerts in my, in my
With an
hometown.
orchestra?
No orchestra, but with second piano, and that's actually, I think, in many ways quite as good, because it's harder to coordinate with the second piano than with an orchestra, in the sense
Why so?
that, well, I suppose there are probably pros and cons to each way, but when you play with the piano, you hit the note and then it's there. But when you have an orchestra, there's a roundness to the sound, and so you don't have to match exactly. And so I think that the precision required when you're playing with the second piano is actually helpful in preparation for playing with an orchestra. Of course, it's good to practice with the orchestra as well, but I think they're both useful. And as far as performing the other repertoire, I had plenty of opportunities, thankfully, to perform. And I think, as some of my colleagues were saying as well, the fact that everything shut down was a good opportunity to develop more, without the pressure of a concert in the back of your mind, just to think, okay, about the art, right? And about how you really want to do this, because now there's time to think. And also to learn some other repertoire, because I think it's important not always to think through the line of one composer, but also you can learn things from other composers as well, and that was very
Did you
useful.
learn something about Chopin by studying, for example, Bach music or other composers of his era or before, or even after Szymanowski's music?
I think so, actually, because you can see what are the differences, and it highlights what makes Chopin unique. It highlights, what makes Chopin unique.
And Hayato, what about you? Have you been able to play his concertos?
Yes, I never played second concert, but I've been played first concert maybe 5 or 6 times, I guess. And I like first concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, really like, and
Yeah, they're both wonderful.
They're both wonderful. Yes, it's really hard to
Of
decide
course.
because they're so similar yet so different. You can feel, they're the work of a really young composer, of course, and which makes them even more absurd, because to be so young and to write such masterpieces is really crazy.
Yeah.
But still, you can really feel all the different characteristics of the two concerts. And did you also have the chance to practice a bit the concertos with a second piano before? Yes, not only with orchestra, but like Talon was saying before.
Yes.
Do you feel like it was different? Was it useful to learn also the more precise approach to Chopin music?
Yeah, of course, it's a different between second piano and orchestra, full orchestra. In second piano, we can easily change the tempo or something, but in orchestra, it's cannot.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we have to know the difference between second piano and orchestra, I think. Well, yeah, and yeah, in Chopin piano concerto, there not so many notes in orchestra. So when we play in second piano, it's gonna be sometimes difficult to play beautifully.
Yes.
Because yeah.
Did
piano
you
sound-
ever also play the second piano part?
Yeah, just for practice with
practice,
my
yes.
friend. Yeah, yeah, difficult.
Now you know how an orchestra feels when they have to play Chopin concertos. Yeah, sometimes less notes is way worse than a lot of notes. Makes more difficult.
So everybody's been, and you all, of course, we've been waiting for so long for the competition to happen, and now it's happening. And we've, seen from a young age the competition and its history and this hall, and you finally played on stage. How did you feel? How was, how was your experience? Was it comfortable? Did you feel like you could communicate that the audience was, warm? Did you feel good energy? Was it what you expected, or was it different? How did it feel?
Yeah, I really enjoyed
You really enjoyed it.
performance. When I played on preliminary stage, I was quite nervous. I didn't know why, but yesterday, when I played on the stage, it was really a lot of fun for me to be able to such an
A lot of fun. Yeah.
great stage in front of a
Wonderful
lot of
hall, by the way,
audiences.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, at the first time I was a little bit nervous, but after 1 or 2 minutes, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get settled. Yeah,
I
you find your
could
groove.
concentrate
Yeah,
on
yeah,
music itself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yutong, what about you? How did the stage feel?
Yeah, basically I just try to make myself comfortable on stage. So actually I was like imagining to play for myself. Yeah, because if you are thinking that you are playing for, either jury or audience, you probably will think that how will think about your performance and how they like it or not. But if you just imagine that you are alone and play something just for yourself, it probably will make it easier on stage. So yeah, that's what I did on stage, and it's pretty nice.
That's very beautiful, because I think it's like an intimacy, you
Yes,
know. And
yes.
I think, I've heard some comments. How would Chopin feel about the Chopin competition being in this big hall? Because we know that Chopin was not a fan of big halls. He preferred the intimate salons, to play just for close friends and family, and he barely gave public performances.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think what you said about just playing for yourself, not worrying or thinking about all the people listening, I think that's a very Chopin-esque
Yes.
mentality, which I think is wonderful.
Yes,
MIYU,
also-
what about you? You played the first performer. You were at 10 a.m. Was that difficult?
Of course.
Yeah.
Were you still a little bit?
Were you
How
just
many
so
coffees
sleepy?
before?
No, I don't drink coffee.
Oh, makes it even more difficult. Then.
Yes, but for me, the experience, it's so special for me, of course, for everyone. But, we had a piano choosing before the stage. And yesterday, when I started to play that instrument, I felt that the instrument was completely new for me. The acoustic and the sound was so new, so fresh, and unexpected sound. But yes, I also, like you said before, I also just concentrated only to the music, and I just tried to not think that it is a competition.
Of course.
Just I just tried to do my best, and without thinking that there is a jury member. But of course, it's so honored to perform in front of such a great Chopinists and in front of Polish
really,
people.
Yes, a really warm audience. So
Yes,
of course
yes.
we could
the
feel it.
atmosphere was so great.
And now we are heading toward the end of this lovely Chopin talk. One last question, maybe. We have been speaking about pianos. Susanna, which instrument did you choose and why, actually?
So I chose the Steinway number 1. I have to admit I only tried the Steinway number 1, 2, and that's all. Because I'm studying Hamburg, and that's why I mostly practice on Steinway pianos.
Not bad.
Because Steinway, like, as you probably know, Hamburg is the city of Steinway. That's why I'm very used to these instruments. But I chose the first Steinway because it sounded for me, the projection of the sound was bigger. The possibilities of this instrument were better for this hall,
Yes,
which is
you
big,
felt
which
you were
which
happy with
you
your
really
choice.
need to shape the sound properly, and I found it better on this instrument, where you can play very softly and very, very, very beautifully. You can play beautiful forte, but you need to pay attention not to make it too much. Like, you cannot just hit the piano and just try to make it just loud, but you really need to shape the sound, because the projection was of the sound was big.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think I have the feeling that also the hall helps a lot. It has a really beautiful acoustic. So
It is.
you
It
disagree?
has, but I would say it's not obvious.
Okay.
You really need to shape it every note, every sound, even if it's piano or forte. You always need to work on the sound in this hall.
KYOHEI, what do you think about this hall? Because you live in Warsaw, maybe you've attended some concerts. You know, is it a easy stage to play on? Do you
About
feel?
hall?
Yeah.
Actually, I really love it. Love this hall, acoustic also, and only one time I played with orchestra here, and I felt so very happiness. So this hall makes happy to artists,
Fantastic,
maybe.
yes.
So that's why I like it.
You
Yes.
like it. You like
Thank
it.
you. The bell is telling us that we need to stop this lovely
Time
chat.
to go.
Thank you, really, everybody, for
Thank
this
you for your
fantastic
time.
chat, and for everybody following, of course. And we look forward to the next Chopin talk this afternoon.
Thank you very much.